There's a growing number of people who are making the switch to organic food. But what is organic, and is it healthier?
Organic food it's a range of, whether it's fresh or ambient products that are certified organic. So it means that from the growing process, whether that's an animal or a carrot, everything within that process has been certified organic.
Well, organic food is a way of life. It is the way we should be eating. It's the way food was grown originally before we added all the shortcuts to produce food the way we want it to be produced, not the way it should be grown.
So if you have organic food, you will have less additive, less coloring, less chemicals, added chemicals, let's say, to your body. And that's why organic food, yes, it's much better to health in general.
Organic basically means that you grow as close to nature as possible, and the produce that you grow absorbs natural nutrients that you would find in the wild. These nutrients are absorbed by the roots of the plants and go directly into the crop. So if you want genuine produce that is full of nutrients, you have to go and buy them from a farm that grows slowly and from natural nutrients that are produced by animal manures that are turned into compost and crop leftovers. So there's a lot of labor involved into creating the right atmosphere in which you can grow genuine organic produce. We have set up a business that grows their own vegetable on our very own farm, which is located in Sharjah, just off the Kalba Road. And we harvest freshly all our products each morning and sell them in our own shop to individual clients and to other businesses. I met a very good engineer who is now my business partner along the way, and together we developed techniques and growing methods how to adjust knowledge that we both had to the desert location. And you have to completely rethink everything that you know, because it's a completely different setting. So you have to create soil, you have to create your own seeds in a way. So we grow heirloom produce, we collect our own seeds, we adjust them slowly to the local growing conditions, which is a very important part of our work. We choose the types of vegetables that we grow very carefully. So for instance, to grow beetroot in the desert is very difficult. So we tried more than 20 different types of beetroot to find the varieties that do really well here.
The organic industry has certain musts that have to be met before a product can carry an organic label. However, there's a wide range of organic labels, and their practices vary from standard to standard.
You could have, for example, the US under one standard. So that's when the US came up with their standard, USDA. The Europeans collectively came up with the EU standard. So what happened there was you had many different standards. Now, to get it all under one hat, you generally tend to have to go for the lowest common denominator. Obviously, you don't want to have some things that are not acceptable, so you knock those out. But you end up having the original standards, which were quite high, and then some other ones which were a little bit lower, and then you tend to have the common standard, which tends to be a step below, because it has to cover such a big range of countries or states or producers.
It doesn't necessarily mean that it won't have been given some form of pesticides or otherwise, but they would all be allowed under the certification body. And each country has their own certification body, so whether the Soil Association in the UK or the FDA in the US, and of course locally there's also a certification body here.
If I wanted to, I could put berries farmed in 12 hours flight from here, fertilized by fish meal, which is a limited resource, sprayed with sulfur and copper oxychloride, picked by immigrant workers, packed in plastic punnets, flown halfway around the world, grown purely for money, and I would get the organic standard.
If you're using that as your insurance to something that is a very healthy product, or a more naturally grown product, because obviously within organic you'll also get, whether it's chocolate or cereals, that just means that the ingredients are organic. It doesn't mean that you're going to lose weight on them. So that's one thing that people have to remember. Just because it's organic doesn't necessarily mean it's diet.
It have the same amount of sugar. It have the same amount of carbs. So listen, read whatever you want to buy. Because at the end, organic food can lead to obesity if you didn't know how much you're having.
When I shop, I always try to read the label as much as I can. Yes, absolutely. And also, obviously also looking at the origin of the countries as well. That also impacts on my choice.
I feel that I'll pay too much money for, maybe I'm wrong, but for nothing.
Would you buy organic if it was the same price?
Yeah, sure. If the same price, sure.
I mean, I try to buy as much organic, like fruit and produce as I can, just because you keep reading things about the chemicals, and I have an autoimmune disease and how everything affects your body, so I try, within limits, if it's not too expensive.
It costs more to grow it, and therefore it's a much slower process. If you can imagine, if you're growing organically, the land itself must be organic, so when they start there's a huge investment. It's transition, so you may have up to 2 to 5 years to change a conventional farm over to organic. It also tastes better. Down at the end of the day, it's down to a more natural product. If there's less put into the product, then obviously its natural goodness shines through, so it's worth the money.
It's healthier than the conventional, definitely, by miles. You haven't had the agrochemicals and you haven't had the processing chemicals. So with those chemicals gone, of course it's a lot healthier. Then you've got the flip side of it and then say, okay, but what about the actual nutrition that's in it, not what's added? So the nutrition that's in it, then I would pick Demeter every day. So Demeter, then we're talking in harmony with nature, with great soil, with compost. There you're getting premium quality and high amounts of nutrition. So high nutrition density. So if you go for the minimum organic standard, you take out the bad. If you go for the highest organic standard, you've taken out the bad and you're adding the good.
Although organic food is healthier, the message from the experts is consumers should still read the labels and really look into where their food is coming from. I'm Sarvi Girampaya, Gulf News.